Hey guys, my name is Shirley and welcome to my channel where it's all about helping you achieve your goals. So yeah, as the title suggests, in today's video I'm just going to be taking you guys through essentially my career journey and how I managed to land my absolute dream job when I was quite young. I think I was 19 or 20. At the moment I am currently 21 years old. I am working at one of the big four global consultancy firms. I figured there's maybe one or two things that I can share with you guys. So the video structure is going to be as follows. I'm going to leave timestamps somewhere here on the screen. You can just skip to whichever parts you want to hear about, but I suggest you just watch the whole video because it kind of all makes sense together. So first thing I'm going to be taking you through a brief history of my career journey. Then after that, we're going to be going through the key thing that allowed me, like the one main thing that allowed me to land my dream job at such a young age. And then finally, I'm going to be closing it off with giving you some advice on things that you can take home and apply in your own life. Alright, so my career journey pretty much started when I was 14. So here in Australia, I think the youngest you can legally work is when you're 14. So literally the day, so my birthday is on the 7th of December. So it's on the 6th of December, I literally stayed up till midnight. And when the clock hit 7 December, I put in my application for Macca's because I was so keen to work. I'd always been so eager to work and all that kind of stuff. So did that. Then after that, I moved on to Kmart. So Kmart is like a retail place in Australia. So it's like your Primarks, kind of like a more budget version of Target and the such. So did some customer service there. So I worked at Macca's for about a year or so. Then we moved houses. So when we moved houses, I wanted to work closer to home. So when we moved houses, I moved into Kmart, did some retail stuff. So this is just while I'm in high school, you know, part-time jobs and the such. Then I did quit my job during my final year of high school just because I wanted to focus more on my studies. Then after high school, started looking for work, but it was a bit difficult to find work. So I started essentially just tutoring on the side. And then after that, I wanted like an actual job that wasn't just, you know, reliant on me. So like I actually wanted, you know, to get paid, like an actual proper job, not just tutoring on the side. So my mum, she's a nurse, absolute beautiful human being. So she's the nurse, so she encouraged me to like apply in like the aged care disability landscape. So I prompted more to disability, which is something that I was more interested in. So I applied for a role at one of Australia's leading disability service providers. So thankfully I got the job. So essentially I just worked as a disability support practitioner. So this disability thing, so this is now my second year of uni. I was probably like 17, 18 or something like that. So yeah, absolutely loved working in disability. So at this point in time, this is when I was getting really into books and stuff like that. And now this is the one thing that I can say I absolutely owe my career to. In my second year of uni, while I'm working as a support worker, I started reading this book. So this is Charlemagne's Black Privilege, Opportunity Comes to Those Who Create It. And I highly, highly recommend this book. I owe my whole career, my whole absolute everything to this book. And I know the title says Black Privilege, but even if you're not a person of color, I still highly recommend you read this book. So what happened is, I was just reading it, you know, uni on my side time, and then he started to talk a lot about internships, and he starts talking about his journey, about how he didn't wait for people to give him the opportunities, but he went out and sought internships on his own. So when I read that chapter, I was so pushed. I'm like, okay, let me just send a bunch of emails, because at this point in time I had been applying for jobs in HR, so like more office admin roles and all that kind of stuff, but because I didn't have experience, I wasn't getting any jobs at all. So like I sent emails out to like organizations that I believed in, organizations that I love. And then I also sent out an email to the head of HR at the disability company that I was working with. I'm working as a support worker. I wrote an email to the head of HR. Email said, hey, my name is Shirley. I've been working with company X. I've been working with this organization now for about a year and a half. Absolutely love what I'm doing. I'm studying a Bachelor of Commerce, majoring in HR and Information Systems. And I was wondering if I can do an unpaid internship with you guys just to get some exposure. It can either be 1-2 days a week, whatever you guys have available. Can you just get back to me? I'm really eager to learn. And luckily, by the goodness of God and the such, they got back to me essentially like within a few days, said, hey, 100% would be willing to have you on board. So yeah, that's essentially what was my gateway into it. And then she mentioned that, I understand you're living out southwest, but this position, the internship would be in the northern beaches, which by public transport, it's 2.5 hour commute. And if I was driving to get there for 9 a.m., it would have been 2 hours commute. She said, I understand that's a very long time for you to be on the road. Are you comfortable with it? And something that Charlemagne talks about is like, when you're so early in your career, you don't have the luxury of being so picky. So I really understood that. I was so early in my career and I didn't have the luxury to be too picky. So I'm like, yeah, 2 hours, 3 hours, I don't care. I'll be there, and I'll be there on time every single day you need me. So anyway, yeah, did the interview. They said, yep, everything sounds great. Would you want to come in every single Friday? So at this point, I was doing uni. I was still working part-time as a disability support practitioner, and then every Friday I would do my internship. So this is still the same organization. So yeah, I did that for about a month, and I did that mainly with the talent acquisition team. So talent acquisition is kind of like recruitment. So I did that for about a month. And then after a month, the company started a project, and for that project they needed like a talent acquisition admin assistant kind of person. So they gave me a call saying, hey, you've been interning with us for a while now, we love the work that you're doing and the such. Would you be interested in doing some actual paid work? We understand you're a university student, so we're available to work part-time with you and the such. So I was like, yeah, 100%. So yeah, as time went on, I was just given more and more responsibility. Absolutely loved it. So from things like phone screens to doing things like sitting in on interviews, from moving from just sitting in on interviews to actually leading the interviews, to being given more responsibility and actually sourcing candidates. So the more I worked, the more I proved myself. Over months, the more responsibility I was given, until eventually I essentially became a talent acquisition consultant. So I worked with that disability service provider company for about essentially the span of about 2.5 years. And in that span of 2.5 years, I started off as a disability support practitioner, moved on into an internship position, then moved on into a talent acquisition administrator role, and then eventually a talent acquisition consultant. So that was my journey. Obviously, you can see it's not like an overnight success thing. So yeah, that's essentially my brief history, how I got to where I'm at and the such. So now I just want to finish off with a few tips on things that I think are very important. So the first thing that I'll say is send 1,500 emails until somebody gets back at you. You just gotta keep knocking on those doors, and eventually somebody will open. Like, I applied for so many admin office related jobs and the such, and I just, so many declined emails and the such, but eventually, I sent out a letter, somebody heard me, and they managed to set me up with an internship. So just keep knocking, eventually you'll get there. And next thing I'd say, don't just apply to like the big firms, also consider applying to like the smaller organizations. So something that I noticed a lot in university was people would be applying to like your Deloittes, your Combanks, your ANZ, like all your like bigger organizations, and those organizations get tens and thousands of applications per day. So it's very difficult for you to stand up in those places. But I'll just challenge you and say, why not consider applying to your local cafe or your local tutoring organization, because they won't have as large a volume as those other bigger organizations, so you will be more able to stand out. Just look around in your community, look around Instagram and places like new startups and the such, and just ask to do even unpaid work, just to get that experience, to get your foot in the door. Like, our problem with our generation sometimes is we want to go from no experience to earning 200k overnight. It does not work like that at all. So yeah, be even to do unpaid stuff, do like smaller places, because that builds up your experience, and those are things that you can put on your resume and eventually lead you to where you want to get to. Number 3 is be willing to make the sacrifices. Like, I had to drive 5 hours a day, or stay on the train for 5 hours a day. I was so tired. I can't even explain to you how difficult and challenging, but in order to get to where you want to get to, sometimes you just need to make the sacrifices. Like, it's pure straight up facts. Obviously take care of your health, your mental health and everything like that. It's so important, but sometimes you just gotta make the sacrifices. That's just the reality of things. I'm not here to lie to you guys. I'm here to tell you as it is, and sacrifices are necessary. Okay, number 4 is be willing to do the silly job. So again, a problem with our generations, we want to go from 0 to 100 real quick. It doesn't work that way. You know, when I first started off as an admin position, I would have like a pile of paperwork, like a heap like this. I would be in the print room for like 3-4 hours, and literally all I'd be doing, scanning paperwork, uploading documents, saving documents. Like, that's very repetitive, but it's something that I had to do. And once I'd done that, and like I kept doing it and I kept proving myself, I would rock up to work in like the best presentation. I would be the nicest person in that print room. I would be scanning paper like I am eating dessert. I'd have a smile on my face. I would do it like 100%. I wouldn't be complaining. If they asked me to go in the print room, I didn't complain. I would do that 100%. So be willing to do the silly jobs first, and be willing to do those silly jobs with a smile on your face, without complaining, because eventually there will be recognition bit by bit, and eventually you will get to where you want to go. Alright, so the last and final tip, which is implied by the book here, is create your own opportunities. Your life is in your hands. Your life is not in anyone else's hands. You have ownership and you have control over your fate. Do not wait for other people to come and make you offers or create opportunities for you. I'm where I'm at today because I went out personally and I sought an internship on my own terms. If I just sat in my bedroom watching Netflix and stuff, nobody was gonna come offer me an internship like that. Maybe they might have, but I highly doubt it. But I took the time to initiate, to seek out on my own. So remember, your life is in your hands. Go out and offer services. Go out and learn and grow. So yeah, that's essentially all that I needed to say. I hope this video has inspired you to take control of your own life. And yeah, with all that being said and done, dream big and hustle hard. I'll see you again next time. Bye.